Love yourself first because that's who you're going to be spending the rest of your life with. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Step Up to Greatness and another episode of our Life Lessons videos. The place to get your tips, tricks, advice, life hacks, and motivation to move you forward towards a life of greatness. I am Dustin Gruss, certified professional coach, personal trainer, and motivational public speaker. I, of course, prefer the term greatness facilitator. We all have greatness within us, or at the very least, a life of greatness out there waiting for us. My goal here at Step Up to Greatness is to help you find your greatness, that being your healthiest and happiest version of yourself. Now, one of the ways to stay happy and healthy is by being happy with yourself. More specifically, loving yourself. Now, I know some of you probably already have an internal dialogue going on right now, scoffing at this notion. Your internal dialogue is probably telling you, no, by recognizing my flaws, I'm able to overcome them and become stronger and better. I'll be able to stay on a straight and narrow path. Well, my response to that comes as a quote courtesy of Louise L. Hay, and she says, "You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens." When we listen to those criticizing inner voices, they lead us down a path of procrastination. They'll make you say and believe things like, "I'll do it someday," and "when I'm good enough, it'll happen." Well, I got news for you. If all you ever do is sit and wait for something to happen for you while listening to those voices, you'll be waiting for a long, long time. You need to take action today. Instead of "I'll do it someday," you want to be able to say, "I'm working today to bring that day closer." In order to get to that point, you need to start with loving yourself. Now, I'm going to give you some ways to stop the self-hate and build respect and love for yourself, which will help make taking action towards your goals easier and more effective. First, you have to be aware of your thoughts and catch the times you are being hard on yourself. Once you start to recognize those negative thoughts, ask yourself some questions. Would you talk to a friend like this or treat them this way? How would a friend feel if you talked to them the way you were talking to yourself? Would this kind of talk encourage a friend if you talk to them this way? If your answers to these questions are no, then you have caught yourself in the midst of a bad habit, and you can change it. Mark 12:41 through 44 tells us, Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." I tell you this to illustrate the concept of you get what you give. If you check in with yourself and realize that you are in need of something, one way to get what you need is to give it. Meaning, if you need encouragement, one way to get it is to give it. One way to lift up yourself is to lift up others. But the woman also gave all she had because she believed it was what she needed to feel closer to God's kingdom. So if you realize you need rest, take some rest. If you need exercise, get some exercise. You need better nutrition, make a list of healthier food you'd like to eat and only buy that food. Do the things you need to do to respect your needs and take care of yourself. This will help cultivate more feeling better about yourself. Lastly, recognize your strengths. Not only recognize them, but acknowledge them. Make a list of things you like about yourself and hang it somewhere you can read it every day. In the bathroom, on the wall, or mirror so you can read it as you brush your teeth in the morning. On the refrigerator for when you go to grab something to eat. on your steering wheel for when you're about to leave for work or when you're stuck at a stoplight. Struggling to think of any of those things you admire about yourself? Ask a friend or loved one to jot some down for you. Knowing someone else thinks highly about you is a great self-confidence boost. And if you don't want to keep it in list form, make them individual traits that you can pull from a jar or a large coffee mug every day, one by one. Mr. Rogers once said, "If you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet, how important you can be to the people you may never even dream of, there is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person." We all have flaws. We all make mistakes. But that's because we are human. The important thing is that we recognize there is so much more to ourselves that is greater than the mistakes we make. That we recognize that we can stumble, but because we love and believe in ourselves, that we can get back up, and then we're able to keep moving forward and step up to greatness.